This is the Lyndsay Stafford Show.
Welcome back to the Lyndsay Stafford Show. Happy to have you back. I'm here with my friend Dan Phillips, who is the storyteller amongst us, and he's mastered that craft. I'm really excited to dig in with him today. But as we were talking before the show started, we are going to talk about failures, and we're going to talk about some times that we have failed in business. And we've been acquainted for quite some time now. I don't know how many years.
Couple of years for sure.
Did we meet through the EIC or through the chamber?
I don't remember.
I don't either.
One of both.
Yeah.
At least one, if not both, for sure.
So connected too.
Yes.
You know, we're very connected in those. So Dan is also a mentor at the Entrepreneur Innovation Center, something that is obviously near and dear to my heart. But also we're both members of the Chamber of Commerce here.
That's right.
So I know we've been through that. So Dan, thank you for being with us today.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, we're talking about something that I know probably too much about, unfortunately, but hopefully it's beneficial.
Anyone that's successful has their master's degree in failure also, right?
That's true.
So you tell the listeners what you do right now. What's your business? Talk about it.
Sure. So the short form is I help businesses tell their story with video. So everything that I do is concentrated on your story, your why, your heart, your drive, your passion, your motivation, why you do what you do and why it matters. I try and stay away from sort of the commercial part of it. It's more not buy my stuff, but here's why to buy my stuff. And really capturing that story. Everything I try and do is try to build trust, build credibility, and build a connection with your potential clients or your target audience.
Yeah, I love that. And your history, you were news.
That's right. I worked in the TV news business for over 20 years. In various forms and markets. And I've been to some really small remote places, and I've been to some pretty cool places.
What's
too.
like the most like never thought I'd be here, but I'm here place you went to?
Oh, wow. Well, I've had the chance to cover the World Series. I've had a chance to stand at the 50-yard line when Tennessee comes rolling out of the power tee. I've had a chance to, let's see. Those are a couple that really stand out.
Yeah, those are like cool moments.
Yeah, I tell people when I worked in television, sports specifically, there were probably 6 to 8 times a year where I had the coolest job in the world.
Yeah.
Like I was absolutely where you wanted to be 100%. Yeah. So it was really cool.
And now you're doing this, helping other people tell their stories.
That's right. Yeah. And this is what always drew me in sports, because I think so much of the time the stories behind the games and the scores are really what matters and really what's so important. And meeting and getting to know the people behind it, the athletes, you know, learning more about them and getting to know them. That was the part of it that really always fascinated me, and really the part that that really resonated with me and drew me in. So to have the opportunity to now tell those stories for people like you and for other people, and to build those relationships, that's the part of it that I really enjoy.
So cool. So when you're building your business, which is what you do full time now, is run your business. What are some of the moments of failure that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that?
So I can tell you what the first one came when I left the television news business. I was, due to the circumstances behind that, it was very quick. It was very sudden. It was very unexpected.
What happened?
So,
Can you talk about
that's a whole story. Sure. So it started the day that Prince died.
Okay.
I was a huge Prince fan. And
I was not. Like,
Really?
my husband likes him, and he'll like put on a song sometimes, and I'm like,
well, that's unfortunate
I'm so
for you.
much younger than you. Just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
That must be what it is. Yes. You're so much younger than I am.
My husband is 2 years older than me, like a year and 10 months, actually. And I'm always like, oh, you're so much older than me.
Nice.
Anyways, okay, I digress. So Prince died.
Yeah. So, and I was anchoring that day and decided that I was going to do a tribute to Prince. So I was going to use song titles, references. I wore a purple shirt and a purple tie, the whole thing. And I thought that it went really, really well. I was really happy with it. I got a lot of positive feedback from my colleagues at the station, but apparently there were some viewers that were not as pleased with that.
Oh, interesting. Why? Why do people care about the weirdest things?
I don't know. I do not know. Even to this day, I have never gotten a very good explanation as to why. So they fired you? So eventually it led to me losing my job.
Okay.
And what was really interesting about that was what happened after that, because I was contacted by my colleague at the Tennessean who said, listen, we want to do a write-up about this. I'm so sorry it happened. We're going to put a link on to the sportscast on the Tennessean website. We're going to do a write-up. I said, okay, that's fine. So it ended up being the number one thing that they had clicked on the entire year.
Wow.
Was what I was told.
But you were already gone.
I was already gone. But from there, it completely blew up. So it was trending on Yahoo News. It was on CBS News' website. I'm getting phone calls from the New York Post, from Inside Edition, it's airing in other television markets across the country. I got notifications from friends that they'd seen it in Phoenix and Cleveland.
My gosh.
It just blew up. And I was already at the point in time where I was looking to get out of the TV news business for a variety of reasons. I had little kids, the schedule, the pay. There was just a lot. There was a lot. There was a lot of different things that that were involved with that. I did not take advantage of the publicity, of the notoriety, of the credibility that I had once I left and started my business.
You did? You did or you did not?
I did not.
I can see that you would, just because I know you on a personal level too, I can see where you'd be like, I'm not going to. I think I would do the same thing. But was that a failure, do you think? It
was a failure because I had a certain amount, again, of credibility in particular. I wasn't trying to parlay it into another job.
Right.
What I didn't do was use that to propel my business.
Yeah.
To say, look, I've got 20 years in the television business.
Yeah.
That's a separator for me in the video production space.
Definitely.
The ability that I have to shoot, the ability that I have to produce, the ability I have to interview, those abilities and the ability to tell a compelling story in a concise amount of time is unique in that space. And I was partially embarrassed, I think, partially sort of taken aback, and did not take advantage of that. And that was a failing on my part, because I really feel like I could have built much more positive momentum
right then,
much quicker than it ended up happening.
And I'm going to justify it a little bit, because when you come out of a corporate world and you are in that employee mentality where you don't have autonomy in your life, you can't wake up and go, you know what, I'm going to do this today. Yeah. Because you have committed to a job that requires you to be at a certain place at a certain time, right? And then you do that long enough, right? Because you had been there doing it for 20 years. So I was in corporate for 20 years. When I left corporate, there was a whole year of me going, who am I? What do I want to do every day? What do I actually want to spend my time on? And I think you're in such a self-discovery phase that it probably wouldn't have made sense to you I got to capitalize on this right now, because you're still also like licking your wounds from what you just went through, right?
There was definitely a sense of that. And there was also definitely a sense of sort of decompression that had to take place. There was also a bit of, again, like, what does that look like? What's next? What people don't understand is the TV news business, and I didn't realize this until years after I left, how toxic that environment truly was.
I think there's some TV shows and movies about it.
Now, but there wasn't back then. And I did not, again, realize what a toxic environment was, what a fishbowl it was. The lack of support, the lack of, what people don't understand is because there's so much supply and so little demand in that industry, that there's such it's almost a disposable kind of thing. Like there's not, very rarely. Now, when you cross over that edge to where you're actually drawing viewers in, then it's a different ballgame.
Yeah.
But until that point in time, there is so much supply and so little demand, because you think about it. When I was working in sports in Nashville, so Nashville is a top 25 market.
Okay.
There's NFL, there's NHL, and there's SEC. Okay. Nashville is also one of the most desirable places, obviously, as we all know, to live in the country.
Right.
Okay. At the time I left, there was 12 jobs.
Wow.
In television at that point in time in sports in this community of over 2 million people.
Yeah.
So there's not very many of those jobs out there. So how many people do you think, when one of those openings comes up, are
Right.
they're on it and they want that job.
And on the flip side, the TV station has their pick.
Absolutely.
Right. And so when you age out or you cost too much money or you're too difficult or you wear a purple shirt
Right. Or whatever
they want. And it's at will. So it's hey, we're going to just replace you. So that's a huge, I see that failure. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think the other thing that could have been viewed as a failure was what you did, was doing the tribute to Prince, right? On choosing to do that. And I just had this conversation with Reggie Ford, who's on my podcast right before this. We're batch recording today, so he was my episode prior to this, about being fearful in the workplace to take initiative because you don't know what the backlash is going to be. And you did it because you felt safe enough to do it. And some people would view, oh, I can't believe you did that. That's a huge mistake. That was a failure. But look at what it catapulted you to. Exactly.
And that is something that I have only come to realize in the last couple of years, is how much of a difference, how I needed that to happen. And again, the toxic environment. And quite honestly, it was a drop the mic moment, and I am absolutely fine with that being the last thing that I've ever done on television.
I can't believe you're not wearing purple every day. I'm serious. Like, this is why I wear purple, because you got to stand up for what you believe in and be okay to make changes happen.
But I mean, it was fine. It was, again, it was creative. It was fun. I enjoyed it. And if that's what people remember me by, and that's my legacy, and, because you can still Google Dan Phillips and Prince and it still comes up all over the place. So it's fine. I'm very much at peace with how I exited that world. And I see how much healthier I am because of that.
I love that story. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. So once you got started in your business and you've been producing, because that's a whole thing, right? You did it working for somebody else. Then you're like, okay, I know all this. I'm going to go do it on my own. To be able to execute that. Most people never accomplish that.
Well, so we've pivoted. So it started out, I literally, a few months before I left television, I had met a woman at a Christmas party, literally. And she worked in Christian publishing at the time. And we hit it off. We both went to the same college. And she said, look, we do video projects all the time for authors. We hire freelancers all the time. Is this something you'd be interested in? I said, absolutely. So we did 3 or 4 projects together and basically said, is this a thing? And so we started a company together, and we're doing video projects for Christian authors. We would do a bio video, and then we would do a video where they would talk about an upcoming book.
Cool.
And we did, 3 or 4 projects, and then started the company, and then turned out it wasn't a thing, because Christian authors, they're very eclectic. First of all, a lot of the marketing things they're not comfortable with or aren't as savvy with.
Yeah, it's very specific.
Yes, exactly. So, and the other component was, a lot of times the author thought the publisher, should pay for the marketing. The publisher thought the author should pay for the marketing. So no one paid for the marketing.
Right.
So we ended up having to pivot again to do more real estate. So then we started doing a lot of real estate, home tours, some branding. That was always the part of it that I really enjoyed the most, was that branding component, helping them distinguish themselves, what makes you unique and different and special from the other 15, 20,000 realtors that there are in Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I don't know if we were ahead of the curve on that, maybe a little bit, because this was like 2017, 2018 that we were kind of doing that. It just didn't, now you can't open up a Instagram, TikTok, Facebook without seeing realtors promoting themselves or whatever they're doing. But for whatever reason, at that point,
it wasn't a thing yet.
It wasn't really a thing yet. So we then ended up pivoting again to where we are. And my partner ended up leaving the company. And now we sort of pivoted to where we are now, which is really concentrating on the storytelling piece and component. And that's the part, honestly, that is the most fulfilling to me. And I'm happier than I've ever been.
It's the iterations of what you've done, right? And it's always about reinventing yourself, pivoting, figuring out how to refine what you're doing. and identifying the trends. In like for you, it's like, okay, this is the trend here is there's no money in this because people don't want to pay for this for in that segment, right? Your first segment, and then pivoting to the next one and then going, okay, we need to open it up to a wider market. You just kind of have to listen to what you're being told based on the feedback that you're getting. But all of those things, like it could have been perceived that like, oh, that was a failure. We decided to focus on this niche market, didn't go well. That was a failure. Oh, we moved to this one. And I imagine there are people who on the outside would look at that and go, what are you doing? Like you keep failing in this and going over and over. And I'm saying it this way because we're talking about failure and the perception of failure from the outside world. But you had to be strong enough internally to say, that idea may not have panned out long term, but it wasn't a failure. Mm-hmm. It was successful for while it lasted. Now it was time to move to the next thing. And serial entrepreneurs, right? Like that is kind of the pattern is it's figure out this problem to solve. And then maybe that takes you to another one.
I think for me, it really partially was the belief that I know what I'm doing and that I know that I'm good at what I'm doing. The imposter
syndrome.
Yeah, right. So that was part of it. And I also think that the other component of it is finding what you're passionate about. Mm-hmm. Having that passion helps push you through so many things and so many struggles and so much of the garbage and the BS that you put up with as a business owner, because fundamentally you believe in what you're doing and what you're good at. And it's what you love to do. And I've been fortunate for so much of my professional career. Now it's cost me in some ways financially, but fulfillment wise, doing what I've loved to do and doing what I've been passionate about doing has really filled a bucket in so many ways that I see so many people they don't have that. And it's huge.
Yeah. It's exactly what Reggie and I were just talking about in the same series of people get stuck in this career or job and they start the job or career, of course, to provide a living for themselves, their family, and then it grows and, all of that life stuff happens. But then they look up one day and it's like, I don't actually love what I'm doing. How do I get out of this? And it's too late in their heads, like too late for a lot of people, right? Now you could have just said, I got to go get a job at another news station. I got to go get another one of the same thing. But instead you listened to your heart, your mind, your emotions and said, no, I'm going to pivot to something different actually. And that is so powerful, but so many people are afraid of doing that.
Well, and I agree with that. And I'm as guilty as anyone else of living in that fear space or that scarcity mindset.
Yes.
And trust me, I've been there and I'm still in the process of trying to move forward.
Everyone is though. That's the thing is everyone, I just had a conversation with John on my team and I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I want to grow that big, I kind of just want to stay because there's that fear of more responsibility, more people to support, all those things.
Can I do it?
Can I even do it? And I think even the most successful people that we see still have those moments of the scarcity mindset or that imposter syndrome creeps in. And imposter syndrome, I think, is one of the worst things. It's fear, right? Yeah,
I totally agree. And I don't know, obviously if I knew how to get past that or help other people, we wouldn't be sitting here because we'd both be gazillionaires someplace. But it is such a powerful thing. And it is so detrimental in so many different ways, living in that fear. Yeah. And we are so, whether it's personally, whether it's professionally, whether it's in the relationships that you have, living in that space of fear is so restrictive and so constricting and prevents you from doing and being not only what you can do, but what you want to do and who you want to be.
What you're made to be. Yeah. Well, I have two things I use to combat that. One thing to help the imposter syndrome. One of my best tips is to get your reps in, because when you get your reps in, you start to build the belief in yourself. The more you do it, the more you believe, I can do this. I have done this. I will do this. I am good at this. Oh, wait, I'm great at this. I'm experienced at this, right? So you put your reps in. It's kind of like I always use, I have a ball player. So, basketball player plays for Page High. At the free throw line, if you know you're going to be there, you're going to be there almost every game. Usually you're going to be there. You get fouled. Practice your reps and you're never going to be fearful of what's happening around you because you just do it without even thinking. You got to get your reps in. I use that a lot with my kids when we talk about, or business owners, like we just got to get reps in. And the other thing is, and I learned this was a conference my husband and I went to way back. I don't even know, must have been 10 years ago, 9 years ago, Tony Robbins conference. And fun fact, we actually missed Tony Robbins. We didn't even see him. We saw everybody else, including Damon John, who's awesome, but was best, worst, and most likely. So when we encounter fear, it's important for our brain to acknowledge that there is a different option other than the worst case, because our brains are wired to think of worst case, right? So we encounter whatever it is, an obstacle that we're facing, and instantly we go, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing that could happen in this situation. Our brain just follows down that path and we feed the fear. We feed it.
Yep.
If we stop and say, okay, stop, that's the worst case scenario. Okay, what is the best case scenario? Now you're giving your brain this opportunity to recognize that there is a different outcome that's possible. Then you go, okay, well, what's most likely? Based on what I know, what's most likely? And there's a thing that happens when you can pull yourself to say best, worst, and most likely, where you give yourself the option of another outcome is possible. And you can stop living in that fear and feeding the fear and go, you know what, I'm going to choose to feed this best case scenario option. And I'm going to think that way. And it helps us to get out of that scarcity mindset, that imposter syndrome, that living in fear of, okay, but if I do this, this could happen. So what do I need to do to make sure that's the outcome?
Right. And I think that is such a great way to look at things. And so much of the time we only do look at what is the worst thing that can happen. That's the most likely. And it's not. It's very rare that you go through your mind and think, what is the worst thing that could happen? And that's what happens. And it's extremely rare.
And it's also very rare when you take the time to use that tool in your tool belt and say best, worst, and most likely. It's very rare that the most likely and the worst are the same. It's actually more common that most likely best and most likely are the same than worst and most likely are the same.
I agree. And yeah, when I was in television, there literally was almost not 3 days in a row where I wondered if my key fob was going to work when I walked up to the door to walk into work. That mindset is so debilitating.
Yes.
It's so hurtful. It's so, I've become a much bigger believer in manifesting things and how that thing can happen. And did I manifest that somehow? I don't know necessarily, but did it help? Of course not.
Right.
I still have a nightmare at least once or twice a year where I have a sports cast that's coming up in 10 minutes that's 3.5 minutes long and I have a minute and a half of it done.
Yeah.
I still have that nightmare to this day, once or twice a year. When I was working in television, I would have that 3 or 4 times a year. It's so debilitating and so negative and so toxic.
So what have you done to overcome that? Because we've talked a lot about failure at this point, but what are some of the things that you've done to get to the other side?
I've talked to a lot of people who don't have that mindset, who have helped me look at things in a different way. I've taken a hard look at myself during COVID, especially was one of the times where I looked at myself both personally and professionally and said, this isn't working. What do I need to do myself to make a serious change in what I'm doing? Because it's just not working. My personal life wasn't working. My professional life wasn't working. I have to take a hard look at myself. And it was difficult to figure out, what do I need to do? Where do I need to go? How do I need to make this happen to get away from this world and this mindset? And again, it's been a lot of conversations. It's been a lot of introspection. It's been a lot of, this isn't working. So let's try something else that does.
But a lot of people don't, that when they get that this isn't working, it's blaming other people, blaming situations and not going, but what do I control? And in every situation that you face, you are in control of some part of it. Everything.
Yep. 100%.
There's always, in every situation that you're in, every challenge, every success, you control part of that. And whether that's your mindset, your activity, your attitude, your effort, the actual situation, whatever part of that is, you have to choose to go, okay, but I own that part. So I'm going to focus on that part.
Well, I think for me too, I think it also became a situation where I was much more willing. I always had a mindset of I can make it happen. If I work harder, if I get up earlier, if I sweat more, if I, whatever the case may be.
Driven.
Yeah. I can make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
I can make it happen no matter what it is. And I came to that realization that it was beating my head against a brick wall a lot of the time. And just taking that step back, taking a deep breath and allowing some things to just sort of happen on their own, generically. That's not the right word, but
organically.
Yeah, organically, exactly. Letting things happen, letting the relationships that I was making and building happen, seeing where that went, not having this mindset of, I got to be selling something. I got to be doing this. I got to make this happen. I got all these things, and just rather taking a deep breath. And it's hard. Trust me. There's no magic pill.
No.
But having that and allowing those things to happen and thinking, okay, it's going to be okay. You're doing the right things. You're meeting the right people. You're making the right relationships. The product you're putting out there is a good quality. Believing in that and allowing that to happen has made a huge, huge difference.
I love that. Focusing on what you control and focusing on seeing the positive and the good, right? And part of that is surrounding yourself with people that are going to reinforce that for you.
Right.
That help
and I've also been very mindful of that too.
Yeah.
I don't get angry. I don't get frustrated with people. I used to get really hurt when I felt like somebody had done me wrong or, betrayed my trust or betrayed me in some form or fashion. And now I'm much more of okay, I see who you are.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, I'm not going to let you in.
I'm not going to feed that anymore.
Yeah. I'm not going to let you in anymore. I see what our relationship is going to be. I'm okay with that. And I keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Keep
and you have to.
Forward.
You have to have those boundaries. And I love the Mel Robbins book, Let Them, which is the whole, I don't know if you've read it or if listeners, if you haven't heard the whole, I don't know, if you haven't heard of it, then you aren't looking at anything online, but I follow her. So I've read a lot of her books, but Let Them theory is all about letting other people be who they are and do what they do. And let me control my boundaries, my perspective, my time, my energy with that person in that situation. Right.
Yeah.
And it's a philosophy that I had to learn over the years too. I cannot control other people.
And it's hard.
It's so hard.
It's so hard because we want to be liked and we want to like other people.
Right.
You and I are both people. So we feed off of that energy. Right. We want to have those relationships. The intimacy, the back and forth, all of those things are really important.
Yeah.
And to be able to understand that you're not necessarily going to have that relationship with everyone that you run across. It's hard.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Dan, you've been so great. It was so good to see you.
Yeah.
I think the last time we saw each other we had lunch together, maybe.
It might have been at the EIC.
Oh, yeah. We were on a panel together.
Yeah.
Man, I'm ready for school to go back so we can see those kids again. Get back into it.
It's such a great organization.
So great.
I'm so glad to be a part of it.
Me too. And the hub that's coming is just amazing, unbelievable. Tell listeners where we can find you.
Yeah. So if you want to reach out, I'm Dan at thevideostoryteller.com.
Okay.
Or you can feel free to reach out to me too by phone. It's 615-517-8837.
Everyone's got your number.
There you go.
865-730. Right? No, not that one. The real one.
That one.
And are you on Instagram? We're on Instagram.
Yep. The Video Storyteller.
Okay.
On Instagram. I'm not a TikToker, but and then feel free to connect through LinkedIn too. I'm very active on both of those platforms.
Awesome. Right here in Middle Tennessee, doing all this great work. Right. Dan, it's such a pleasure to have you. Thank you for being here. And for those of you watching, listening, viewing, please go to LyndsayStafford.com or StaffordSolutionsConsulting.com. Follow us, like this, share it with someone who it might help. And if you liked us, give us a review. It helps us a lot to do a 5-star review. If it's not 5 stars, you don't need to do it. If it's 5 stars, go ahead and do it. We'll see you next time.